Hello everyone, you join us on the inside of the all-new 2026 Audi A6 e-Tron Sportback, and this is a rear-wheel drive prestige model, and we're going to go take it on a charge because we are now at 33% state of charge, and we do have to return the vehicle back to Audi quite soon. So we've had this vehicle for the whole week. Of course, we actually had it at 80% of charge when we got the vehicle, so it wasn't a full 100%. Let's see if we can see our trip computer here. For long-term memory should be somewhere in here. Scroll down. It doesn't have it when we started to get the vehicle, but over the course of the mileage of this vehicle's been in existence, it's done 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour. So that's actually not too bad of a number. I would say over the course of this week of testing, this is just over our most recent trip, I've been seeing that 3.3 to 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour figure. I honestly think it could do even better on a highway scenario since this vehicle is so aerodynamically efficient. Now, in terms of charging performance and charging speed, we are really seeing some good stuff here. We have an 800 volt architecture on this A6 e-Tron. We have around 270 kilowatts of our max charging speed, which is really nice to see. And looking at our center console display over here, a really huge information cluster, we can see some charging information here. So on our left-hand side of our vehicle, we actually have our DC charger. On the right-hand side, we actually have a level 2 only charger. So we have 2 charge port doors on this vehicle, which is kind of cool. Right now, as you can see, we're at 33%. We have 108 miles of range. You guys can see on our digital dash right here, which is pretty good actually at 33%. And we're gonna go try to charge it up. Audi claims around 10% to 80% in around 20 to 21 minutes. Since we have an 800 volt architecture, pretty high charging speeds, that's a nice thing to see. But we're going to see how we can go from around 33% to around 80%. So that's going to be fun to see. It looks like we can adjust our charge target here, which is pretty nice. We'll set it to 80. It says a recommended battery temperature use here, which is nice to see. And we have a few other informational stuff here. We can open up our charge port door there. Looks like we have some departure times for like at home charging in the morning, fast charging. So we're going to go through this in a second when we find our charger and favorited charging locations there, which is nice to see. Going back to this page here, let's actually search for a charging stop. So it's going to bring us to our navigation system here, and since this is a kind of Google-based system, it's pulling from a lot of charging stops. We have a little set icon there for charging. We could probably ask Audi to find us a charger as well from the virtual assistant, and we can just search for stations around us, or we can kind of swipe through this list over here as well. We're going to use this supercharger that's near us. It says max 250 kilowatts. We also have this one over here that's max 325 kilowatts of speed. Now, I would go to this one right here, though. We just charged there. It has quite a lot of problems. It's very crowded, and I don't have an adapter right now to kind of access this charger. So we're going to go to this one because I think this one's a little bit more of a reliable station, even though it maxes out at 250 kilowatts. We'll see if this car maxes out these chargers at all or not. So we're going to press it right here. It's going to input our destination, and since it knows that we are going to a charger, it should prep the battery. And we're also getting some nice information in this mapping system here. So it says we'll arrive at 29%. It's only 8.1 miles. And as you can see on this colossal augmented reality heads-up display, it's showing us where to go already. So we'll go head off. We'll talk a little bit more some stuff about the stats of this vehicle on our drive to the charger, and when we arrive there, we'll see the process of charging this A6 e-Tron Sportback. Okay, everyone, off we go in the A6 e-Tron. We're going to pop it into reverse. Got our crazy light animations and stuff in here. Really nice bright cameras as well. And I just want to talk a little specs before we go charge this vehicle on our journey to charge here. So, like I mentioned, this is a rear-wheel drive A6 e-Tron Sportback 2026 model year, very new. And this vehicle is really impressive in terms of range. This particular model in the rear-wheel drive format can, in a specific trim, get over 390 miles of EPA rated range. And as we all know, the EPA figures are pretty much what you're going to see more in the real world scenario. So that's a really nice number to see. Now, if you go for the Quattro models, the dual motor all-wheel drive versions of this vehicle, you're going to get a little bit less range, but still impressive figures nonetheless. And this is going to make it a really nice strong point over some of its competitors, especially like the BMW i5. It's a great vehicle, but it's not a dedicated EV architecture, so its range isn't going to be as high as this vehicle. I would say its real main rival in terms of range would be the Lucid Air, which definitely can either outperform or match this vehicle in terms of its range figures. Acceleration is really good in this rear-wheel drive model as well. We have 375 horsepower in the launch mode, around 362 in day-to-day driving. Still pretty impressive, especially for a rear-wheel drive vehicle, and it's a rear-wheel drive Audi as well. Coasting is really good. We have a lot of regen capability. We have two-ish kind of settings with these paddle shifters here in terms of regenerative braking. There's an adaptive regenerative mode, so it kind of slows down to recuperate energy in almost all scenarios that it thinks it should be doing. So if it sees a stoplight, if it sees a red light, if it sees a corner, it's going to regen a little bit. You can adjust all those parameters, or turn it completely off within the infotainment settings as well if you don't really like it too much. We also have a B mode here, so I can pop it into B mode. That's going to be more of your closest to one pedal style driving. I would say I almost want a little bit more regen in some scenarios, but it kind of fills in a little bit of regen when it thinks it needs it, which is kind of fun. Now we have a lot of drive modes as well. We'll pop it into dynamic just for a second here as we head out onto the highway. But there is an efficiency and efficiency plus modes as well. Dynamic mode kind of stiffens the steering just a little bit and gives you a little bit more throttle response. Acceleration is very linear and smooth, very unlike what we experienced on the BMW i5. That was violent and aggressive. This is a much more luxurious and kind of smoother acceleration experience here, which I actually quite like. It's a little bit more of a more comfort dailyable thing here. Now in efficiency mode here, normally if you have your ambient lighting set to the efficiency or drive mode displays here, we'll get some green lights pop up here to let you really know you're in efficiency mode. This mode is going to be what I like to use either on a highway setting or on longer trips, because it kind of lets the car coast a little bit more and reduces that regenerative braking effect. And honestly, I think that's better for efficiency overall, especially on a highway. You don't really want regen all the time. You just want to just get up to speed and coast. And this car coasts so well thanks to its really low drag coefficient of just 0.23. Now we also have an efficiency plus mode, and what this does is basically shut off everything in the vehicle. So you're going to watch every screen dim, the ambient lights turn off, our screens become darker and dimmer. This is really what you're going to want to do to squeeze out every single inch of or mile of range out of this battery pack here. It's really going to turn off your heated seats, your heated steering wheel, lower down the climate into an efficiency plus mode. It's a little bit extreme, as you can see, but if you need that extra range, you do have that an available option here in this A6 e-Tron Sportback, and getting out of it, you can see everything kind of comes back to life for you in this vehicle. So we're going to continue on our journey here to go charge, and I will join you guys back on the camera when we do arrive at the charging station. Okay folks, we're pulling up to our Tesla superchargers here with the magic connector, which allows us to plug into CCS charging here. And we have around 29% of battery charge left, 86 miles of range now, so we definitely have dipped down just a little bit. And hopefully we don't have to wait too long for this charging session. See, our AR navigation is still routing us around here. It's actually been quite helpful on this journey. It can be a little distracting sometimes. And it looks like there's a GM Bright Drop van charging. Okay, that is really cool. Was not expecting that. But it also looks like we may not have a wait in this vehicle. Quite an interesting array of stuff charging here, guys. So let's go pull in and we'll go ahead and start charging up this vehicle, because it looks like we got some interesting stuff charging at the supercharger. We just pulled up to the charger here. One of them is out of order, but we are in a proper one that's working here. Love this light stuff at night in this Audi. Really, really a cool experience. Okay, guys, we had some interesting issues here with the supercharger, not the vehicle, but we are charging finally now. And look at this cool animation on the dashboard here. That is epic. But we are indeed charging, and we have peaked around 125 kilowatts of speed. Now, like I mentioned, this car has a peak DC fast charging rate of up to 270 kilowatts. So I'm not sure if either this battery might be either cold or this charger just cannot supply enough output. Like I did see on the map, it said this charger is not the highest rating. So it looks like if you have a route planned in, like this current destination, which we are here, it's only going to charge to what it thinks it needs to go to. I'm going to take the route off and set it to 80% charge target here. So that's really interesting. If you have a route set in, and even though it's at your charging destination, it doesn't complete the route, end it, because it's only going to charge up to that and lock it there. So I'm going to charge it back up to our 80% recommended use. Our battery is warm, so it's at 84 degrees. So definitely preconditioned enough all along the way here. That means the Audi did do it by itself, since we started at around 64 degrees of a battery temperature there. Also on our screen here, we're still seeing some decent charging information here. We can press our view to kind of expand this out. And for some reason, we got a lot of malfunctions when the vehicle is turned on, and we're just parked here. I'm assuming this is because we're parked reversed into the charger, but I don't really know why it's giving us all of these warning chimes for no real reason here. But if you kind of see past all the loud warning chimes, we do have a charging estimation of just 20 minutes to go from around 33%, or we ended up here around 29% actually, to an 80% state of charge, which I think is actually a pretty nice time frame here with DC fast charging. And also, as I mentioned, if you can find a charger that can really output a lot of juice, you can actually do this in a much quicker time frame. And while you're charging, just like a lot of EVs now, Audi has games built into their vehicle, so you can play some racing games, download a few other stuff while you're charging to kill some time as well, which is kind of fun. Interesting to see the battery temperature live while we're charging has risen up to now 109 degrees Fahrenheit here. Pretty cool to see. And we are, and charging just ended right now. I was about to say charging is just about to end, but it has just ended. We are now at 80% state of charge. Really did not take long at all, and we now have 278 miles of range in our e-Tron A6. So at 100%, we definitely get a lot more range, but with our estimated current driving style, which has been a little bit more on the aggressive side this week as we're testing it, 278 miles at 80%. Let's go unplug. As you can see here, we can press this little button here to unplug the charger or release the lock if the vehicle is not already unlocked. Pop it out there. We have our magic connector built into our Tesla charger here. Plug that in there, and the door actually automatically closes when you're done charging. Love that feature, Audi. So hop inside, wrap up this charging session here with the A6 e-Tron Sportback. Soft closed doors. Put on our seatbelt here. Car comes to life, even though we have a start-stop button. Very interesting experience in this Audi. Oh, I guess it did not turn on this time. Interesting. But if I put it into drive, it does automatically turn on. And like I mentioned, wrapping up this charge, we do have 278 miles of range in this A6 e-Tron. But overall, really actually quite good charging experience here. Really quick to charge. Pricing is fixed at this particular station. It was around $30-ish. I'll overlay that information there. And we're going to go head off and continue experiencing this A6 e-Tron, while we do have to give it back quite soon. But overall, like I said, pretty good fast charging experience actually. Really no issues whatsoever, other than with the supercharger itself.